Well, this is what we're dealing with today. We got kind of dumped on pretty good with some snow. And I'm looking at this guy. This is an old 70s snowblower. This thing has been in my family for about 15 to 20 years. And I know for a fact this has not run since the winter of 2013, 12 or 13. So I want to get this thing going and use it. And this thing doesn't have any spark. Yeah, there's no spark. There's no spark. I'm sure that the carburetor needs to be cleaned. So we're going to have to disassemble a bunch of this to pop the flywheel off to get to the points and condenser. And I'm going to try cleaning them and see if we can't get this thing going. So let me set up the camera and get to work on this. Okay, now let's get this out of the way. Spark tester. And first thing we can do is no, that's not going to work because it's stripped and I just poked myself with some shavings. Okay, let me get a socket and wrench for that. Be right back. Okay, let's try this. Get held on by just the fuel line, which I take it that this fuel line is probably garbage, but we're gonna give it a try. You know what? That fuel line needs to just be cut anyway because it's petrified. So I'm just going to cut it and remove the tank. There's your fuel tank. That's bone dry. Okay. Continuing on. This bracket. It's a bigger size. Okay. Oh, that's actually a head bolt. Well, this one's got to come out. These ones have to be removed because I have to remove this front case. Okay, taking this thing apart has proven to be kind of a pain in the butt. So what we got here is This rod is put together with this, and this thing just has a push pin, right, going through it. And I tapped that out with a punch and a hammer. It tapped right out, no problem. So now I can remove this. I'm going to have to, I don't need to remove it all the way. I can just do that so that I can get to these bolts. And then that'll come off. I'm going to have to buy a new head gasket, because this thing, these brackets are held in through the head bolts, through the engine. So it's, you got to remove them. You got to remove the head basically to take this apart. Kind of a pain in the butt. But yeah, so I had to remove this little clip here that had this thing held in, and then tap out that pin. Now I can get these off, and yeah, so making progress. Okay, well, I tried cleaning these points with a piece of paper, and they were pretty dirty, nasty. And I put it back together, and I'm still getting nothing. And I should get some fire just by rotating this. It should spark, and it's not. This coil is delaminating right here. It was worse than this. See how it's coming apart? I kind of squeezed it back together. It was like frayed way out. And I think that the coil and the points and condenser just need to be replaced in this thing. So I'm going to look into parts for this. And I think this thing's probably worth fixing, I think. So I'm going to look into seeing what a coil and a point and condenser costs for this. Okay, so I've removed the carburetor, because it is definitely going to have to be cleaned. And this is the linkage for the governor. It goes right here. Okay, so I got that removed. I removed the muffler. So this thing is going to have to be gone through and cleaned. I'll look up parts for the ignition, and then I'll be back. All right, well, I spent 60 some dollars, 65 bucks maybe. I bought points and condenser. I bought a needle and seat kit, gasket kit for this carburetor. I bought a new head gasket. Points and condenser, I said that right. And then the gasket, exhaust gasket, intake gasket, and I believe that's it. Everything that I need, basically. What I'm going to do with this, because this part is unobtainable right here. This right here I cannot get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean it very well. See how it just kind of came apart a little bit. I'm going to clean it in my sonic cleaner really well. And then I'm going to squirt some kind of glue or something in here, and then I'm going to clamp it in my vise over here. I'll use 2 pieces of wood. I think I'll cut this right down the center, and I'll use 2 pieces of wood to clamp that really good, and I'll just let it sit up. And just reuse this. Yeah. But I got a whole new kit coming, condenser, points, and coil. I'm replacing the coil. Might as well. And yeah, so once that stuff is all in, I will let you know. I should have done this before so that I could actually use this to clear the snow, but I didn't, so we'll get it. Yeah, I don't know. I think this thing came loose somehow. this right here. I believe that this came loose and is what did this damage. So, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get that all cleaned up, get it clamped together with some kind of glue or something, and see if I can't get this thing to reform. It'll be fine. I think it'll be alright. I'll be back. Alright, this is after half an hour of ultrasonic. Just nasty. I actually bought a new float, so I'm going to replace the float with a plastic float. I've got the head surface cleaned. I bought a head gasket, of course. I've got the head cleaned up, you know, the cylinder top cleaned up, ready for the new gasket and stuff. I actually put the cylinder head in the cleaner, but I'm going to go ahead and get rid of, you know, dump this and yeah, get all these bolts out and everything. Everything's cleaned up, so I'm just going to wait for parts. So I'll chime back in once the parts get here. I'll go ahead and, I'm not going to upload this. I'll just, like I said, I'll just wait until the parts get here, and then we'll move forward from there. Okay, this is all cleaned and dried. Now I got this stuff. That's what I'm going to squeeze in between these. That's about the strongest stuff I have. Whatever. Anyway, I got this wood cut into two. It's going to go on the sides here, and then I'm going to squeeze that glue into there, and then use the vise to clamp it together, and just let it sit there for as long as until the parts get here. It could be a week, so I'll just let it sit and see how it goes. Okay. Yeah. This stuff is nasty. I'll just squeeze it in there. Both sides. There you go. Get in there. Get in there. Okay. And then we will see if I can't do this. Okay, kind of try to position it. It looks pretty good. Looks pretty good, and just clamp it. Clamp it tight. Would like it a little bit more like this. There we go. There we go. It's clamped. Get in here, give you a view. You can see it's clamped really good in there. And hopefully that glue will make it stick. We'll see. So I'm just going to leave it in this vise like this for as long as it takes for me to get those parts. And then once I remove this, I'll kind of wire away the excess glue, wire wheel it, and yeah, hopefully that'll fix that problem. It's about all I can do because I can't replace this part. So, and honestly, it's just the metal creating a field. So as long as it's together, it should be okay. All right, I'll be back once I get parts.